Basically, every time that I've met Bassett for a podcast, there have been multiple technical problems. It's almost like there's a ghost in my phone that keeps messing with everything.
Oh no, really?
Yeah,
do you know what? I keep having that at the moment. I think there's a ghost in my house that keeps...
A ghost in your house?
Yeah, that keeps like messing with my stuff and like hiding stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. Maybe it's just me being really disorganised.
Possibly, you never know.
Yeah, probably. But more than likely. But yeah, no, I thought that as well. Sometimes you have those times where you're like, what's going on?
Oh, that's actually hilarious. That? By the way, we're actually rolling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Oh, did I just step on your foot?
Oh no, there's the
what
chair.
on earth is that? Great.
There's something under the table.
Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Luton's Deadpool podcast with me, Luton's Deadpool, and my guest today, Lauren from NGYT.
That's right.
How you doing, Lauren? Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the presence of a celebrity. Oh,
no!
I am in the presence of a celebrity. Because I was just saying on the way up, like you do amazing work in Luton, obviously raising money for charity, but also like spreading that positive message about Luton. And I know you're passionate about mental health and young people, and that's the same with us. So thank you so much for having me on. And I do feel you're very, very inspirational. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really sweet of you to say that. Yeah, I mean, like I feel the exact same about NGYT for what they do for the community, for young people. My belief is that what a town is, it should be judged by its culture. Right, and its arts, and that side of a town is so important because through creativity springs innovation, and then that creates wealth and opportunities for people. And literally, if you have no arts and no culture in a town, your town's kind of doomed from the start. So seeing the work that you guys do and how much you involve young people, I mean, I was just looking today at your website, and to think that you literally have every age group from 3 to 25. I think you do from 0 as well.
We have a towel shaker session, and the reason why we created towel shakers, we say 0 to 6 and parents and carers. And the reason why we say 0 to 6, people are like, 0? Like babies, like newborns? Like, yeah, as long as they can hold their head up, like that's absolutely fine. Because we, like I said, the value of the arts for young people and the culture, it's so important to not only the town, but to young people, to individuals, to humans, that actually, why not introduce that at a really young age? And that play and the storytelling, and it helps develop young people, babies from a young age. And you might look at a baby, if you've ever played with a baby, sometimes they might not respond, they might not look like they're kind of looking around, but actually they're taking everything in.
Yeah.
And it's developing them, and it's developing their brain in so many ways you wouldn't realise. So we wanted to create something that almost like filled a gap. There wasn't really much for that age group other than your usual groups. We were like, well, let's make something at NGYT that's for them too, because we feel like that will help foster that love of the arts and all of those skills of storytelling at a young age. And then as they grow up, they'll move into not only just NGYT groups, but they will do so much more arts activity and cultural activity in Luton because they've started that from a young age, and also their parents have been doing it with them. That as they grow up, as they get older, that's almost like a normal thing.
Yeah.
I feel like the play as well is really important. Like sometimes,
100%.
Like the play, and also we stop often. We think like we should stop playing when we get to a certain age and be really serious. And actually, we believe that play, particularly within dance and theatre, is really important. But play in all aspects of life is really important.
Oh, it's so important. It doesn't matter what age you are as well. I mean, you know, I'm an avid gamer, and you know, I play with my kids with their toys and stuff. You know, I get in and like I have a lot of fun doing it as well.
And you must have a lot of fun like going out into the community and meeting people on the street. And actually, that's really important. That fun and that joy that you bring to people, and not only children but adults as well, is really, really important. And so we think it really develops you as a human, and not only keeps you happy. But,
I think that like part of being a human is that you should be silly every now and then.
Oh,
right?
For sure.
Just a little bit even. But
we might be silly at the end of the podcast. We've discussed.
Oh yeah, we're going to do some TikTok.
We might do some dancing. Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited. We're going to do something.
Why not?
But yeah, like I totally agree. Like when I'm out on the street and I'm collecting, like this is now my period. Christmas is like my busiest period from now until I'm dead, I guess. Oh wait, I can't die. Sorry, kids who think I'm actually a superhero.
No, there's no spoilers. There's no spoilers.
Sorry.
Eternal Deadpool.
But obviously, whilst I'm doing it now, Christmas period is like such a big time because I'm out. I think I'm out every single day I'm doing something other than Christmas Day. That's it. Like my whole...
Yeah, I saw your schedule. We'll share that as well.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Because I think it's really important. But you're doing great work.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, what's so important about it is obviously the charity side is great, but, you know, there's I'll tell just a quick story about one gentleman who I meet like quite regularly in town. I won't say his name, you know, because he's never said that I can out him and say who he is. But yeah, this one gentleman, he's from Lithuania, and I see him pretty much every single time I'm fundraising. And the first time that I ever saw him, he couldn't believe it. He was like completely gobsmacked by what was going on. Didn't understand it. Didn't know who Deadpool was in the first place. And then through chatting to him, I found out that the next day when I saw him, he came to me and he said, I was going home to kill myself.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's what he said. And then he said when he saw me and I gave him the time to just talk to him and make him laugh and stuff, he was like, maybe I can do more. And then he decided to stop feeling sorry for himself. And now he's out there. He had trouble finding work. He doesn't have family over here. You know, he's a very lonely person. But ever since meeting me, he's now gone and found a job. He's gone and started being part of community projects and doing stuff to really help the community. So yeah, just through that one little, like to me, you know, my whole ethos in what I do is that I will give all of my time to whoever wants it. So if you stop me in the street and you want to talk to me for an hour, I'll talk to you for an hour.
Yeah.
As long as you want to talk to me, I'm quite happy to. And my belief is that if I stay open like that, I've got a chance of actually saving people.
Yeah, making a difference.
It's genuinely worked. So
100%.
And you guys do the same thing.
I was going to say that you literally encompass everything that we try and do for young people. So our kind of tagline is like, we care, we listen, we create. And we believe the same thing now, like theatre and dance. And it's not only just about play, as mentioned before, it's about creativity and expressing yourself. And a lot of young people come to us because they need a safe space. They need somewhere that listens, somewhere that understands them, and somewhere for them to create and express themselves freely. And that by nature is like very therapeutic.
Yeah, definitely.
But also, again, we will always listen to young people. There will be sessions if a young person needs to talk. And we have those safeguarding measures in place.
Yeah,
we have a safeguarding, we have a well-being policy. And we make sure, obviously, that we're working with parents and carers and the appropriate places to make sure that safeguarding is in place. But young people know that they can come to us and be themselves in a non-judgmental environment and talk and create and be silly and play.
Yeah.
And they're not judged. There's nothing, they've not got to put a brave face on for anyone. And they just have a really good time.
Like, I think the whole thing, like when I was a kid, I could have so badly done with Next Generation Youth.
Same. It wasn't there. It didn't exist when I was young.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing like it. And, you know, growing up for me, I had quite a troubled background, had a really abusive stepdad. And, you know, for me, football was my escape. I got to go out on the pitch and express myself. And that's like a form of art in itself as well. I know that, you know, most people kind of look at football lads as being like this sort of, you know, oh, let's go down the pub and have some pints, like that kind of guy. But, you know, there's some really beautiful kind of people in football. And some of my coaches ended up being like father figures to me. And they really helped me throughout really difficult times. And without them, I don't know if I'd be here right now.
That's why we say, like, you know, family, that was your family. Yeah. You know, in outside, it's almost like a second or third space. It's
and that's what you guys call
extended family.
Yeah, you call yourselves like the NGYT family.
Yeah,
right? I absolutely love that. I really do. And it's like everyone that I've talked to who's been a part of you guys just speaks so highly. Obviously, I had Carl on the podcast, Carl Colony.
We love Carl.
He's such a nice, friendly, lovely human being. And he's got such a big career ahead of him in the future for whatever he wants to do.
100%.
And he owes all of that to you guys.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he says.
We love Carl. But yeah, we love Carl. And like Carl said a little bit about his like story on the podcast. So everyone should go and watch that if they haven't, and they listen to that if they haven't yet. But yeah, there are lots, you know what, NGYT and sports and football teams and whatever kind of club or activity it is are so important to young people to have something that they can go to. Like you said, like, you know, that saved me. And Carl very much says, you know, it stopped he had that other space. He had the option to maybe getting with some mates that were maybe in the wrong crowd or it could have gone the other way. And we've got lots of young people that have been through NGYT that also say the same. But it's so important in almost like preventative measure because, you know, it's something for you to, for lots of things. And we're supported by Bedfordshire Veru and Directional CIC, and they all within a family where, and also the Culture Trust, to enable us to have and offer free places and places for young people where they can come without any barriers, because they need it. They need this, and you needed that. And Carl needed NGYT, and he's got talent as well. And we're so pleased that he's like pursuing this professionally as well. But it doesn't even necessarily have to be about doing football as a profession, dance, theatre as a profession. It's just about having something that is
give them an option.
100%. It's more than that, and it's a preventive measure for you to, you know, and to make sure that you're going on and doing great things, and you're on the right track, and we're role modelling, and like they were role modelling for you, and they were your family father figures, and their family, and, you know, your family need, and whether it's your family at home or extended family like us, making sure that you're supported and you're looked after and you're cared about, and that's what we do, and that's what your team and heard.
I think that's the most important thing with children. I found growing up that when I would speak, people would downplay me and not listen to me, or they would criticise my ideas, and the belief just wasn't there. And I don't know why, as adults, we do that to children. You know, if a child comes to me and they want to say to me, "Oh, look at how high I can jump," and they do a little tiny jump off the floor, I don't care. I'll be enthralled by that.
That's amazing.
And I'll big them up. Some people think that you shouldn't do that with kids, and I'm the complete opposite. I think that the more that you give a child, the more they can do as they become an adult. It's
that confidence and that self-esteem. We need to be raising that, because there's so much, like you said, there's so much that, particularly mental health, and particularly since the pandemic, you know, that is, you know, mental health with young people is at an all-time like low. It's not, there's not so much support or funding, everything happening going into it, but also there's so many more young people suffering with mental health difficulties or conditions, and actually we need to be raising all children's confidence, self-esteem, and like you said, people listening to you, saying you are heard, but also youth voice is a big thing for us. It is at the centre of what we do. We make sure that we have a youth panel with young people on there that make decisions with us. And every single session and company we have, all the ideas of what they want to make or do come from them. We listen to them. We'll never say, "Oh no," we'll go, "Okay, let's try it, and let's see if that'll work. Let's see what works. Oh, okay, let's give that a go. Oh, I'm going to try this." Maybe, but then we'll try your idea. And, exactly. And I know yesterday you were talking with Carl about having an idea and someone poo-pooing it and like cutting it off. And with young people, we work with them to try to make those ideas happen. As adults, our creative team, like, of course, when you have an idea, you've got to have, almost like an adults in the creative space, a professional creative space, you do have to have someone that comes and goes, "Oh no, I'm not sure about that. That might not work because of X, Y, Z," because then you can troubleshoot and then you get to the amazing big idea. But with young people, you really want to think about, you know, how your words impacting them, how your actions impacting them, how can you give them the authority to and the responsibility to do something that will help their self-agency and their self-esteem, and will grow that confidence that they can lead. I think a lot of young people are told no, and actually what happens when you tell them yes? What's the worst that can happen?
Exactly.
Like, does it really matter?
Their idea, they fail on it. You know, part of my journey has been I have failed so many times. I don't have enough hands or feet to count the digits on. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous, the amount of ventures that I've gone. You know, I started off when I left school. I tried to become a chef because I love cooking. I'm like such a foodie, and I'm still, you know, I still cook now. When I think one day, when I've got more time, when my children maybe growing up a bit, I'm gonna go back into cooking, because it's my biggest passion.
If it's a passion, then you should do it.
All I do is watch Australian MasterChef at the moment. That is it. That is my whole life at the moment. But so for me, I think that I've completely lost my thread.
You were saying about doing what you love, and we were talking about like not saying no, and just what happens when you say yes, or what are the opportunities that happen.
Yeah, failing is a big part of your life's journey, because if all you ever do is succeed, how can you ever really self-reflect? You know what I mean? It's like,
if you never make mistakes,
exactly, like,
how can you ever learn from them?
Every failure that I've ever had has been an incredible teaching experience, because I've learned what didn't work.
But then it's not really failure because you've learned something from
it.
Yeah. And I think that's an important thing to take away, is that everything that happens, you learn from it. And there needs to be room to make mistakes. Everyone needs room to make mistakes.
Exactly.
How else are you going to learn from them?
Okay, so now you tell me then, because you know, we're talking about NGYT, we're talking about me a bit. Let's actually talk about me. Yeah, seriously, for
me
real.
as a person.
Because Lauren, you're amazing.
Thank
Firstly,
you.
my daughter loves you, right?
Thank
because
you.
do you know why? It's such a silly reason. Because she thinks.
Please tell me why.
No, she thinks you look like Wanda from the Marvel films. Yeah. Scarlet Witch. She thinks that you look exactly like her.
That's made my week now, so you have to tell your daughter.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, well, hopefully she'll watch this and
please.
She'll get to see that.
Like, I can't say her name. But
no,
hello.
You can't say her name.
I was like, can't say her name. Hello.
Hi, whoever you are.
Hi.
No, but she is. She loves you and for what you guys do. But yeah, tell me a little bit about Lauren.
Yeah,
you're from Luton, right?
I am from Luton, born and bred.
Love it.
From Luton, born and bred. I'm 32.
Oh.
Do you think I look younger?
No, because you're the same age as me.
Oh, I'm the same age.
Yeah. What school do you go to?
I went to, now it's QES, but it was Ashcroft.
No way.
Did you go to
No, I didn't go to Ashcroft. I went to Puttridge. But,
okay.
Oh my God, so close.
So close.
I guarantee we know the same people.
Probably, yeah, we probably will.
Oh my God, no, we can't, because then you'll figure out who I am.
Oh, I probably wouldn't figure out who you are. I'm not that
Hopefully not. Okay, all right. Well, we can discuss.
Also, I'm not great with names. I would recognise faces, but I wouldn't necessarily. I can't see a face.
You probably wouldn't know me, to be fair. I wasn't like, I wasn't tremendously popular at school. My last couple of years I was quite rubbish at school as well.
Yeah, I was never one of the I don't know what that means, popular kids. I was like someone that floated in the middle, that was kind of like
between
friends
every group
with everyone.
Yeah.
But I was never like heralded as like never. Never. But I didn't want to be. So it's fine.
So you went to Ashcroft.
Went to Ashcroft.
What was your school experience like?
School experience was really, really interesting, because I was a good kid. I wasn't massively badly behaved, but I wasn't hugely academic. I was never heralded as being massively academic. So I was in it was interesting because I was in a set with a lot of children that had a lot of challenging behaviours and a lot of disruptive behaviours for whatever reason, not judging them at all, because now I work with young people, I completely understand. But I was then moved up into a top set for everything because of my behaviour. But academically, I couldn't keep up. I was struggling, particularly within maths. I had a maths tutor for my whole school life. So actually, school was quite hard for me in terms of not necessarily socially, but maybe academically. Yeah, it was tough. I was always told why can't why can't you write this essay? Why are these grades not good? And actually, dance was the only thing that I really loved. I love science going up to secondary school, but maths was really hard, science got really hard, and dance was English I liked, probably wasn't the best, but English I liked it, and dance was a saviour for me, and that's why I really love working with young people in Luton. I think it's really important, particularly and I'm now a dance teacher and I work as a dancer, and that's what I always wanted to do, and I'm really lucky that I've had the support. I know that everyone does, and another reason why I work at NGYT, because not everyone does have that support, and I want to give that support to young people. It's to go and do the career that I wanted to do from when I was a young age, when I went into high school and through college. But I've gone on a tangent now.
No, I love tangents. Keep going.
I've got to think where I was going. Where was I going?
Oh yeah, find your train.
And so dance was what I really wanted to do. And so now I realise how important it is to come back to Luton and work with young people. Need people from young people. Sorry, I'm touching my microphone. I'm just going to get told off. Actually, Deadpool won't tell me off.
No, I won't. You're lovely. I could never tell you.
Ruin the entire podcast by rustling. It's really important for young people in Luton to have people from Luton working with them, and that's why I do it. And this is why you're from Luton. You do what you do in Luton too. It was Luton. Dance was my saviour, because that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I loved. And I guess it wasn't necessarily seen as academic. It is academic though. As I went into uni and college, and people actually said to me, did you know your writing about dance is stronger than your dancing? And that for me was what? Because I've been told my entire life that I wasn't academic, that I wasn't strong at writing, I wasn't good at maths, I wasn't good at all these things. I had to work so much harder, and naturally I was like, why am I working so hard but not getting very good grades in everything? So then I was like, why am I suddenly being told this in dance school? This is when I was 18. So I was like, this has completely like confused me, that I've been told that I'm, you know, more academic and less physical for dancing. I'm like, okay, what?
Yeah,
but anyway, regardless, I was like, I want to get my degree in dance, and I want to then be a performer. I still want to do it. I still want to be a performer. But okay, if I am good at academically in dance, writing about dance, speaking about dance, the theory of dance, and there is theory in dance. People don't even realize it. They're like, oh, you just doing a TikTok coursework. No, it's not. It's hard work, and like, you know, it is hard work, and you do need to be academic to do it, and to do it particularly at a higher level. But you know, you don't necessarily have to go to university to do that, though. And I chose to do that, and that's fine. My parents wanted me to have something that if I wanted to do something else, that I could. And I was, again, very lucky to have that support, and very lucky to do that. I'm very privileged to do that, and I know that, and I acknowledge that. But yeah, I still wanted to be a dancer, a dance teacher, and I came back to Luton without a job, finished everything, and I was like, right, I found it. You know, let's type into Google, literally, and then I typed into Google, dance and theatre in Luton, and NGYT is the first thing that came up. Like, I'm going to email them. And I think I was working in the town centre in retail at the time, and Laura and David got back to me, and they came in at Christmas time and met me behind a till, and they were like, are you Lauren? And I was like, yeah. They're like, oh, you sent me an email. I think I got scared and didn't reply. I got scared because I was like, oh, I've never done anything like this before, and this is like, I don't know them. And they were like, oh, you should come in, and they invited me to do a trial class, and I started teaching. That's 8 years ago now.
Wow.
So sorry, you've had my life story.
No, I love your life story so far. It's brilliant.
But I'm so glad that I met David and Laura, and I sent that email, and even if I didn't reply because I got scared,
I think I'm glad
I did. I took Laura up on that trial session, because I didn't really know if I wanted to teach or what I wanted to do. And a lot of young people feel like that. And I'm glad I did, because it's the best decision I ever made. I wish I had NGYT when I was young, like you said, someone like NGYT, somewhere like that, because they're doing so much for young people. And I know I'm biased, I work with them, but there's a reason why I've chosen to work with them and stay with them for 8 years, because they develop and grow everyone that they work with, not just young people. Like creatively, I don't know if anyone knows, but like professionally, creatively, they give so many opportunities to so many people, and everyone that we work with. So I've mentioned Bedsbury and Directional and the Culture Trust, to like provide us with scholarships for young people to access it. But everyone that works with us, all the schools, they're all supporting artists and developing artists, and in Luton, which is so important that we have artists in Luton working with young people and working and role modelling. And I would never ever look back or change it. But if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have stayed in Luton.
Really?
Yeah. And done this and seen how important it is, and I think actually that's amazing.
Yeah, like I think that when it comes to people that are talented like yourself, right, and intelligent, and have a lot going for them. No, it's true. That's why I see you as. You know, I'm not trying to inflate your ego or anything. I'm just observing. But with people like yourself, what tends to happen is you come back to the town after going to university, and you go, "I'm too big for this place." And then off they go somewhere else.
Sometimes that happens, and that is sad. And do you know what? I do think that leads on, and this is something that you're working to change as well as us, is it's the negative perceptions from the press and the outside negative perceptions on Luton that causes that. And the main reason why I came back to Luton and worked at NGYT, and I've stayed for 8 years, is because I've seen always, and I can give you an example. I often tell a lot of people, they might have heard this, but we see the negative effects that negative view of Luton has on young people. It's astounding, and you don't even realise it's there until you have conversations. So I was teaching a after-school club at one of the schools, primary school age, year 5 or year 6 young people, so primary school still. And I was putting our stuff on to go home, and they said, "Oh, miss, you're from like London or Milton Keynes, aren't you?" And I turned around, I was like, "No, from Luton." And they were like, "Oh, we thought you were better than Luton." I was like,
"Really? That's so sweet of them to say that."
Really sweet. because what I read between the lines is that they're looking up to someone.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're looking up to someone and saying, oh, that's really, and I was like, hold on, what does that mean? Let's just unpack what that means. I was like, hold on a minute, like, let's just sit on the bench for a second and just have a little chat. I was like, you know, what does that mean? And they were like, oh, like those places are better than Luton. I was like, but why? They're not, like, okay, they're bigger, they might have more things to do, or at the moment, at that time. I mean, I think Luton's got lots of things. And going back to what we said right at the beginning of this podcast, a lot of people don't think there's any cult. They say, oh, there's no culture, there's nothing happening, there's no shows, there's no music, there's no culture in Luton. I'm like,
there's so much.
Look around. Where are you looking?
You must be facing a brick wall.
Some people, and I do think, again, it leads on from that negative perception, because there is so much. And if anyone is watching this or listening to this and thinking, oh no, I'm one of those people that doesn't think that there is any, or I haven't heard about any, maybe we're not showing it in the right places, or people aren't necessarily looking for it. But Google all the things you're interested in and type in Luton, and I guarantee you'll find something.
So much.
Or drop us a message on social media, and we'll be happy to help people out.
Yeah, totally. We'll give all the socials at the end. But
if you want to do things in Luton, then just drop us a message. There are lots of things, but I think the negative perception that there isn't, and they hear that and then they repeat it. It's not that there isn't, there is.
You just have to look for it. Yeah.
And I think I was like, you know, what does that mean? And they said, I said, don't ever think that, you know, Luton's worse than somewhere else. Like, you're in Luton, you're amazing and you're brilliant, and you can do all these things if you're from Luton. And Luton isn't worse than these, but they're not better than Luton. And Luton is Luton, it's amazing. And I want you to think about all the great things there are going on in Luton. And a lot of the time we'll do a lot of like activities with kids that are like, particularly within theatre, like, what are your favourite things to do in Luton? What do you love about Luton? And we really try and enhance that. And we have a Up Our Street programme, which I project manage in like the north and west areas of Luton. And it's all about, the theme is belonging and like acknowledging where you're from and really celebrating that, and realising that actually, like, you're part of that and it's brilliant. And there's all these things that can happen here that are fun and what you want to do. And so then we're working to get funding to create more of those activities. But that's about helping to establish that Luton is a great place. And so those young people in that area. And so then I was like, you know, just remember, like, Luton's brilliant, and it's brilliant because you're in it and you're part of it, and you can do whatever you want to do.
I absolutely love that.
You can grow out of Luton, do what you want to do. You don't have to move out of Luton, be other places and do other things. You're brilliant because you're here, and you can be here and do brilliant things as well.
For me, like, exactly, I try to echo that sentiment all the time, that the place that you live in isn't so much about the actual buildings and the structures or the things you read about it. It's about the people that are on the ground that are here day to day, trying their best to make it better. I mean, you know, I think that I've been very lucky with the platform that I've sort of been handed to me, that I'm now able to shine a spotlight on all of those great things. Because, you know, part of the reason why I stay anonymous is because I don't want that attention on me, because I'm just one of many, right? I want to shine it on organisations like yourselves, or on schools that are doing great work in communities, like Chorney Girls' School. Oh my gosh.
Love Chorney Girls.
Amazing school.
Hannah and I went there in September and ran a Make a Musical Day, and it ended up being with like 120 young people. And they were amazing, and they're amazing. The staff are amazing. They're doing great things there.
And I think that when you, like, so me shining light on them, or you guys shining light on them, the more times that you see Chorney Girls' School are doing this, that makes another school, like, say, like Huttridge High School, say, well, we want to do some things now.
100%.
Or like Ashcroft, they want to do things. Lee Manor, they want to do things. Like, there's schools all around our town now that are becoming way more involved with the community. Like, I don't know about you, but when we went to school, I didn't have any of that. Like, it wasn't like my school was part of the community. My school was just a building that I got sent to every day. And that isn't what school should be. School should be, it should be a place where you foster that ethos of community, and you really get the kids to understand from a very, very young age that it's really important for you to stay here and make it better. Not to be trapped here or anything. You can travel the world. You can do what you want.
Stay
Keep your
here
home in
and make
Luton.
the change.
Yeah,
100%.
like it really frustrates me when, you know, so many of my friends have gone off and they've made it, and then they never look back. And it's like,
where they're from,
yeah,
where are you from, what are you doing to help
where you're from made you
from.
successful.
Yeah,
you know, you might not necessarily attribute it to that. You might look
or
down
realise.
on Luton, but you know, you wouldn't have been necessarily as big a success without the struggle.
You wouldn't have been born. You wouldn't have been born. Like you were born. If they were born here, if they were born here, you don't have to be born here. You could be from. You can still be born somewhere else and be from here.
Yeah,
and do amazing things. And yeah, I think it's very important to look back where you're from and
100%
give back to it, or at least speak with it with respect. And I, like you said, they're like, oh, you know.
Yeah, I want Luton to be a place where I can. I'm already proud of it, as is.
Yeah.
But I want it to be a place where people are jealous that they're not. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want it to be that, you know, people don't talk. Like, I feel like in the UK, we have a big problem at the moment. In the majority of places around the UK, there is a massive lack of culture, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean of English culture. I mean of any culture whatsoever, you know. And what I love about Luton is that we are so special. We've got such a big, diverse community.
So special.
And then that all affects each other's culture. So, you know, we've got our carnival arts with all the Caribbean sort of love that we get.
We've got UK Centre for Carnival Arts.
Exactly, right there, just down the road.
You can't say that Luton doesn't have any culture. I'm like, it has it's so rich in culture.
Like we've got here, the Hat Factory, where we're at right now. Big up to the Hat Factory. I love the Hat Factory. Guys are amazing. I've recorded a couple over the road at Hatworks, which has been really fun. I'm hoping to come back and do some more. But like we've got Diwali Fest that comes here once a year, which is just absolutely amazing. We've got our Paddy's Day festivals. I was just speaking to Nalette at the Irish Forum, and we're going to do something for Paddy's Day. I'm going to have her on the podcast as well, which is going to be so cool. I can't wait.
There are amazing events and activities happening in Luton, and some of those that mentioned. And we all work with a lot of those organisations with our young people, and we're really grateful for that as well. And they're very important to look after those and, like, you know, spread the word and get everyone involved as much as possible. Because to develop that culture that we have, there's so much, and we've got the Mela as well, and all, you know, so many different celebrations of culture that we have. And I'm glad that, and you know, especially the Eastern European
the East Fest as well. We had that on not too long ago.
Exactly.
So, that was brilliant.
Exactly. So there's so much.
I mean, I want to make a Deadpool Fest.
Okay.
That's what
Let's talk.
I want to do a Deadpool Fest.
Let's talk.
I have no idea. Do you know what? That literally just came into my head just then.
Let's do it.
But this is kind of what I do. I just make ideas just come to me, and now I actually really like it. Now I'm like, oh my gosh,
it could be to raise money.
Yeah, raise money for different organisations.
Even for Keach.
For Keach. I mean, for me, Keach is really special to me, and Keach is kind of the reason why I believe so much in community, because ever since I was a little boy, Keach has just been a massive part of this town. I mean, you must know about Smiley Sam.
Yeah.
You know, Smiley Sam goes round once a year across every day of December. And when we was kids, it was like just the most fun thing
Always
ever.
Hear it in the background.
Hear that bell, you hear
the bell.
You
and you're like, go to the window. And actually, one of our last year, I remember when we could, I think it was last year or the year before, when we could open up for the first time after the COVID pandemic. I know it's not ended yet. But in terms of the lockdowns, and we could operate the 1st December that we could do that. And one of our venues, well, all of our venues in the community. And so it was one Thursday evening, we had like the bell and music, and we were like, look, come to the window. We all went to the window, like pressed our faces up against the window and like went past. And I was like, messaged my family. I was like, they're coming this way. Like, can you get some money for me? Because obviously I'm at work. Can you get some money for me and pop it in and donate for me? Because
they're just the best. I mean, what most people don't know as well is that the Smiley Sam stuff is done by a lot of volunteers. A lot of people give up their time to do that. A big shout out to Lisa Kofi and Sam Fenson, 2 friends of mine who, you know, I've known Sam for a very, very long time, and her mum Lisa. Them 2 have been massively involved with Keach. I'm really sad. Lisa's son Ian passed away a while back, and he was a really big part of that kind of community. Of he was Santa for periods of time, and without him doing that, and without Lisa and Sam doing what they do, maybe Smiley Sam goes away, and it's such an important thing for children to have magic in their lives, right?
100%.
Like to believe that there's something a little bit more, because even though like when I was a kid and my mum told me of the truth about some things, it really broke my heart. But then at the same time, it's like the magic doesn't have to die there. It
continues.
It does, and it's like seeing things like that made me feel like I could dream big. Right, so seeing Santa on a train, I know it's so silly to say, it's just Santa on a train, but to me it was like, oh my gosh, like, and all these people are with him. Maybe when I'm older, I can be working with Santa, and I can go around with a bucket.
Yeah, and I think that you also saw that sense of community.
Yeah,
they're doing this for the community, and that my mum and dad never like hid the reason why they should never like gave anything away, but never hid the reason why they're going around and collecting for charity, and that's something that we should do. You should donate to charity, and that's very important. And
I think like what's really special about Luton as well, because we have like quite a large Asian community in Luton, and within the Asian community, charity is at the core, and I think that's why it works so well in this town. And I keep saying this when I talk to people, but we need to draw more from the Asian community and spread that community to be a bigger one of just Luton, where within the Asian community it's like a family. Like everybody is like a family. You look after each other. You really look out for each other. Yeah, and,
so true.
And whether you're Muslim or Hindu or Sikh, it's irrelevant, or Christian for that matter. It doesn't matter within that community.
It's that kindness and that giving and that sharing and opening your door and
I think we've got that already in Luton, but I want to see it more. I want to see there being no borders between us in this town. Because there are people that do speak badly of certain areas in the town and will look down because a different culture comes from there, and we need to get rid of that way of thinking, because 100%. It's so harmful.
We all need to work together. That cohesion is really important. We all need to work together. We're only ever stronger if we're all together.
Exactly.
I do ever find though, that there is an attitude in Luton where it's like, don't badmouth my town if you're from outside.
Yeah,
only I can do it.
Only I can do it. Yeah, exactly.
And like, yeah,
I've had multiple arguments like that.
Oh, sorry, I'm touching the microphone again. Don't hurt
Lauren,
me. Sorry, don't be mad at me. Don't be cross at me. No, don't be cross at me. I'm gonna sit on my hands. I work with kids, but I know how to like,
I can imagine you would have been the most fidgety kid when you.
Oh my god, I work with kids. Yeah, I know they fidget, but I need to do it myself. Sorry, for the record, I don't tell the kids to sit on their hands.
No, good.
No, we want them to have fun.
Yeah.
But I keep touching the microphone, so I'm going to sit on my hands. At the end of this podcast, I'm going to look like I've been told off.
Blue hands as well.
Yeah.
We cut the circulation off. No, don't sit on your hands. It's fine.
I know, I've got a bony bottom as well. I'm going to keep that in. Don't cut that out. I've lost my place. That's it. People, and actually, part of me is like, oh, I kind of like that fire that people have in Luton, but we don't want to badmouth it at all, really.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually, so many people do that. We need to be the beacon of light that is sharing, saying, no, actually, it's
I love that.
Really great.
Beacon of light. What a great
Let's
expression.
be the beacon. And do you know what? Saying that, we're right next to that beacon artwork. It's on the side of the Hat Factory. And the Beacon Lounge. But we need to be that beacon of light that she says, no, Luton's brilliant, and
exactly.
keep spreading that.
Yeah, like for me, I always feel like one of the worst parts of like why the town has a bad reputation is because people keep echoing that same thing. Luton is a terrible place to live. Luton has too much crime. Luton has too many homeless people. Luton has too much of this, too much of that, and it's just always so negative. But
it's always Luton. It's always Luton, isn't it? I always dread when I see pop up on my timeline an article that someone shared, and it's top 10 dull places to live. And I don't read it. I don't look. But I scroll past it because.
And we're in there. We're always in there, and it doesn't make any sense.
The media needs to take responsibility for that. And I know they can write what they
do you know
write.
What we need to do?
I know everywhere has like its parts that they can improve.
Yeah, of course.
But it's always that, and people read it, kids hear it.
Do you know what? The only way to tackle that stuff, this is how I'm doing it now. Every time I see an article like that, I go to the reporter.
Report it.
Yeah, no, the reporter that's written the article, and then I'll email them. I'll say, I'll give them a whole list of good things in Luton, and I'll give them.
Why don't they write an article about top 10 amazing things to do in Luton, or top 10
just don't
things.
Talk about us. You're not from here. You've never been here.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Past the airport.
I had a bit of a moan on the podcast recently when I really shouldn't run. I really shouldn't run on podcasts. But do you know what? I believe in being passionate and being normal, and just like, not trying to be like canned in what I'm saying. I just like it to flow. I do no prep for any of these things. So, because I really believe in genuine voices. So, yeah, so this is on my one with Linus Adofia, the boxer, right? Amazing guy, just brilliant. He has a campaign that he's part of called Save Our Town, and he's just such a beautiful human being. So anyway, before I went onto that podcast, I now don't watch anything before I come on podcasts, because otherwise that energy seeps into it. And I just watched, you know, Andrew Tate is, right? Obviously. And like, Tristan Tate as well, yeah, his brother. They actually went sixth form. My partner knows them.
I didn't realise that they were from Luton.
Well, they're not from Luton. They're from America. And then they moved here, and then they've gone to school and college here.
I didn't even realise that until
they're just arseholes.
And Carl mentioned it on the podcast, actually. And I was like, I'm actually glad that I hadn't heard that until then. Because if I had heard that, I'd be like, oh, it's another, like...
check this out, yeah? So Tristan Tate came to Luton, I'm not even sure when it was, but he done a TikTok in Luton. And he's walking around the town, and he's filming the worst kind of things that happen here. So, you know, it's like there was a guy sleeping in a porch, yeah? No context.
I think I've heard about this.
Yeah, no context
whatsoever. Somebody from Luton Bid
There's a guy pulling cigarette butts out, and he's just going along, criticising and then he goes into the mall, and then he starts shaming all the shops in the mall. And, like, the thing with me, with people like him, what I really dislike, and like, this is an open invitation for you to come and to debate me or whatever if you want on my ideas, because I don't care. I believe in what I say. I think that Tristan Tate is part of the problem. I think Andrew Tate is part of the problem. They just moan, yeah? You're going to moan, and then you're going to drive around in Bugatti Veyrons, going from Dubai and stuff. Like, you're spending money like it doesn't mean anything. And then you're going to come down to this town and you're ashamed. How about you put your money into town and make it better?
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And I think the worst thing that you can do is go to a place and put on social media what's awful about it, for no reason other than to spread that. Yeah, is awful. I think actually what you're speaking about came about a little while ago, and I had a meeting with someone from Luton Bid, and we were talking about that, and she was saying, there's the hashtag, I think it's there is more to Luton, or more to Luton. And I've been using that on some of our posts, hashtag more to Luton. We've been using hashtag more to Luton. I think that is close enough, or hashtag there is more to Luton. Yeah. Because there was so much of that happening, and it became a trend, I heard, and which is awful. Yeah. And actually, why are we jumping on these negative trends? Why aren't we jumping on a positive trend? So we jumped on the hashtag more to Luton, or there is more to Luton. And obviously, we hashtag Luton, and like, you can see all the great things that's happening, because it's not, of course, anyone could go anywhere and find fault. I'm not saying everywhere is perfect.
I mean, if you go to some of the nicest towns in the UK,
I do think people need to think about what they're doing and what they're posting. And actually, you're posting that, but young people use these social media platforms more than anyone. And actually, if you're posting that on social media, who's going to see it? Young people. If you've ever said anything negative about Luton, like, think about who you're saying it to, who you're saying it around, who's going to hear it, and is it going to affect them, their self-esteem, their confidence? Because it is. It is affecting people's confidence, self-esteem.
And do you know what? Just to say as well, on like the homeless people thing, because I think that every every time that people see a homeless person, there's always a negative connotations attached to them, right? And for me, I mean, I'm in the town all the time, right? I think that I have possibly the best voice to speak on this, right? Because
you speak to so many people.
I genuinely can, because I talk to, oh my gosh, like on Saturday I done a collection, right? And I must talk to maybe 100 to 200 people, and that's like every time that I do it. So you can imagine the amount of different people that I've spoken to now. And I speak to a lot of homeless people. Every time I see homeless people in town, you know, they're quite familiar. You'll see them. It's mostly the same people all the time. And they come up to me, they show me love, they show me appreciation, they tell me thank you for what I'm doing. And do you know what? All of them donate.
Yeah, you were saying on Carl's podcast.
Yeah. The guy with the hot chocolate pot, right? Yeah, oh my gosh. Amazing.
That is amazing.
He had £15 in pound coins and pennies and stuff that he's been collecting.
So generous. Yeah, so generous.
I can't believe that these people say, oh, by the way, can I just check this is still working?
Yeah. I'm just going to check.
Hold on. Shaboomski, this is the best. It's only Bassett it doesn't work for. I swear to God, I don't know what his problem is.
It's still working.
Yeah, Bassett, mate, sort your life out. I don't know what's going on, with you and my phone. But you must have, like, I don't know.
How many times have you had to try and re-record or film?
Well, we've done 2 times so far, and both times we had multiple errors that happened. So the first time, I've spoken about this before, but I'll say it again. The first time, the microphones failed at 6 minutes in. For no reason. No reason at all. And it stopped the recording. And we spoke for about an hour and 20 minutes on that. So yeah, that was a good chunk of time that was just gone. And then we met at the Barrels pub. Big up the Barrels and big up Sean, the owner of the Barrels. So we went to the Barrels pub to film, and we was filming for must have been about 45 minutes. And I get up to check at about the 45-minute mark, and we've lost like 15 minutes. So. And them last 15 minutes were probably the best 15 minutes.
It's because you're like, when you're really relaxed in your conversation, it's flowing.
Just forget. And do you know what? I don't know why my phone just hates me when it comes to Bassett. But Bassett's a great guy, amazing journalist. He's tackling some issues in Luton. We have a real big problem in Luton in terms of power. There's some people that hold power in this town, and I'm finding out more about it as time goes on, and the names of who and what they've actually done to take away from the youth in our town, because this is probably my next venture, what I'm going to go into, because I'm going to show who these people are that have been doing this stuff. Like there's places like yourselves who do such great work, and then there's places that set up to pretend to be like yourselves, and all the money goes missing.
Oh no.
Yeah, and me and Bassett have spoken about a couple of these charities that have been set up. And then all of a sudden, the person that set up the charity now has 15 new businesses. Yeah, and then they're making an absolute ton of money. And this is a real problem in this town. And I know that by sticking my head above the parapet, I might get it locked off. But I'm gonna, I'm Deadpool. It will grow back. I'll be fine. So I'm really gonna.
Deadpool doesn't die, guys.
I don't die. And do you know what? The best thing is because Bassett was saying to me that some of the things that he may say may get him in trouble as well, because these people hold such vast amounts of power and wealth.
What we need is a big collective of people. There's power and there's in numbers. And if there's lots of people aware of something that's happening in the town, then we all need to get behind each other.
Exactly, because ultimately they are stealing from the hands of hungry, impoverished children. It was, I can't say too much because me and Bassett, we've agreed not to actually talk about it publicly just yet. But when it comes, this is the good thing for me though, is that they can't cancel me. There is impossible. Like me and Bassett spoke about this. He said, yeah, but then, you won't get invited to things and stuff. And he's right. Yeah, I won't get invited to the galas maybe anymore and stuff like that. Like all the fancy events that I get to go to. Maybe I won't, but I will still be out in that town centre with my bucket collecting for Keach. I know Keach won't turn their back on me. So yeah, I'm prepared to take that risk because it's so important.
We need to do what's right. I think the main thing to take away is you have to do what's right.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Bassett speaks to me a lot about Malcolm X, right? And I'm not like a big Malcolm X guy. I don't know a great deal about him, but Malcolm X's philosophy in life was that you've got to stand up against these people, because if you don't, they're going to take everything from you, because they're not like me and you. They don't, you know, I have therapy regularly, right? Which, by the way, I encourage everybody to do, even if you don't have any problems. It's great. It helps so much.
Yeah, for so many reasons. Like, not just your mental health, but lots of things in the way that we are and how we are and the way we behave and what we act is
give you a bit of perspective on other people and 100%. Your own actions.
And also, 100%.
But yeah, so in one of my therapy sessions, I was talking about, like, you know, I tell her everything about me being Deadpool and all that stuff, right? Which she finds hilarious.
I was going to say, she's like, are you just like this? Like,
no. I'm just as myself, but like, no, but at the same time, it is kind of funny, because she's like, you know, this might be where all your problems are coming from, is that you wear a mask all the time, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, what we had this conversation, and I said to her, you know, I'm a really giving person, right? I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet or anything, but, you know, if I'm given £20, I'm more than likely going to put that to charity.
Yeah, of course.
Right? If it's a free £20, I'm like, you know, I don't need it, so I'm going to give it to charity. I mean, I don't have a lot of money. I'm pretty broke, like, all the time. But
you do so much. It's okay to blow your own trumpet and say, I do a lot of charity.
Yeah, I know. I do a lot of that stuff, right? And then there's people out there that just take. And I said to her, like, what is the deal? Like, what is it, like, on a psychological level? Why are people
like that?
And she was like, you can't explain it. Just some people are cute, cuddly sheep. Yeah, like you. Like, you're a cute, cuddly sheep. You want to be part of the community. You want everybody to be happy and friendly. You want to hug people, and you want to make people smile and laugh. And then you've got wolves, and they exist. They prey on the weak. They prey on the kind. They prey on anybody who is going to be a little bit selfless, because they know that they can take from you. They know that you're going to give to them. Like, you probably had it as well, where you've got people in your life who you just help, and all they do is take, and then they always expect more. It's never enough, and then they actually make you feel bad if you ever question them on their bad behaviour.
Because you're a good person, and
exactly, and they're not. And I had to just accept that it is true. There are some people in this world that are just really bad, and you cannot change, you cannot help, you cannot save them, and we need to now sort of take more of an aggressive front with them, because so far, they're, you know, the people like Malcolm X and Martin Luther and great social activists that have been across the course of our lives are almost all gone. I don't know that many. I couldn't name too many today who I could say there's this really inspirational person who's going out there and they're breaking down barriers, and then they're bringing people together and they're taking down institutions. Like, I really couldn't name that many of them, but we need more of them now. We need people who are going to be fearless, and they are going to take on the challenge of the big corporation or the government, or, you know, even like some in our council. There's some, you know, a couple of bad ones in the council. There's some really, really, really good ones in the council as well. But it exists everywhere. There are these people, and we need to find them. We need to remove them from that power, because they shouldn't have it. That, you know, when I hear that there's been a place that's been given a certain amount of money, and it's in the effort to build a youth sort of building, or say, you know, to give activities to children. And then, you know, there was one recently where there was money given for education reasons, right? And the schools didn't see it. Not at all. And there's just no fuss kicked up about it. It's like money has been stolen.
Is it because nobody knows?
No, I think it's because the people in power just zip on everybody. I think that's what happens. They just... And it's because they hold so much power. It's like, when I was growing up, I thought, like, you know, oh, come on, it can't actually be like that. Like, you know, you watch movies about corruption and stuff, and I'm like, no way can it actually be. No, it is actually like that.
That's very sad.
It's very sad.
In our town.
And because of the way that social media works now as well, it's really easy for them to hide, because if they're doing like a load of good things, right, you know, nobody's going to question them.
That's what you see.
And then if a bad thing comes out, you know, it's silenced. And that's what happens. That genuinely happens. There's been a couple of things. And like I say, I can't say too much right now, but as time goes on, we get more proof about it as well, because some of it is just word of mouth, obviously. And I'm never going to like base my beliefs on word of mouth. I like to actually see facts, but I'm hoping that I'm going to get some people on the podcast that can share some of that. They've got actual evidence of stuff. So
it's about doing the right thing and standing up for the right thing. And I think as long as people are doing that,
exactly.
Yeah, I'm really sad to hear about that.
I know, it broke my heart as well, because it's like, I believe like what you believe. Luton is a great place.
Yeah.
It's the best place.
You want to believe that everything is,
but do you know what?
Everyone's the same and everyone's for everyone's best interest.
But we need to have leaders in this town that
let's name a few. Let's name a few.
Good leaders.
Like Hina Shafi.
Oh, I love that you said Hina.
Shafi.
She's the best.
Hope you're watching this.
Yeah, I hope so as well.
Do you know Halima Ali?
Yes, Halima. Yeah, Halima, you're a big one as well. Sarah Owen, man.
Yes, Sarah Owen. I saw a clip of Sarah Owen this morning.
Yeah.
Being very good in House of Commons.
Oh my God, she's amazing, isn't she?
I need to maybe try and send you I saw it on someone's story that's probably private. But I need to try and find the video.
Do you know what? Me and Sarah Owen are quite good friends now, right? I actually love that I've got like a friendly relationship with her. And when I was at the Kent A Fest recently with Maria Lovell at Venue 360, right? So Kent A Fest comes around once a year. It's a Ghanaian celebration of culture, and it's just such a beautiful, wonderful evening, great night. And I got to have a little chat with Sarah right at the start of it, and she's so normal. She's so normal. Like I get to talk to a lot of politicians, right? And most of them are like really, really careful with what they say. You know, they don't like to.
But again, she's someone that's doing the right thing. Yeah. Basically, the clip that I saw this morning was there was a politician that was telling her to shut up.
Oh my God, how horrible was that?
And she basically sat down and said, "Make me."
Yeah.
Make me.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And how important is that for, like, you know, I've been trying to champion
and I was
this
like,
a lot.
Yeah.
For girls, right? Is it not the best thing to see?
So important.
It's so important,
and
right?
standing up to it, and it was a man as well.
Yeah. So, put him in his place.
And that was trying to bully her on social media, and they were in the comments, and he was doing it again, and she was just like, "Can I please have some advice on how to deal with this?" And it's happening, and she's
a force
amazing,
of nature, and I'm loving what she's doing, and I think she's got the biggest future ahead of her, because what she's got is she knows how to be a politician, right? But then at the same time, I think she's got core values that she's not willing to break. And when I speak to her, I see that in enormous abundance.
You've got to, and people are relying on you, and you're role modelling, and it's so important.
But yeah, let's go back to NGYT, right? So tell me, what has NGYT got on at the moment? And what's in the future, if you want to give a little bit of
so much. Okay, so I'm sure these guys will probably know from the beginning of our chat, like you said, we're dance and theatre for 0 to 25-year-olds. And at the moment, so on Friday night, we had our performances for our musical theatre companies. So we have a company that is age 6 to 18. And then we have our iGen Theatre company that tonight at the Hat Factory. If you want a ticket, go to our link in bio, which we'll talk about socials at the end, I'm sure.
I'll put a thing in for this as well.
They're 11 plus, and they've got a show tonight at the Hat Factory, which is their first performance in a theatre, that group, since I think maybe before the pandemic. We tried to do a few bits and bobs, but sadly they didn't weren't able to happen, because we're performing for groups that are slightly more vulnerable. So within COVID-19, it wasn't able to happen. So they've got performances. We've got performances and demos in all of our groups and companies this week. What have we got on? We're doing some work with Level Trust, and we're doing some work with Chantry and Whitefield in the Pioneer Trust. We're holding some Make a Musical days,
that's so cool.
where kids make a musical in a day, and that's part of their holiday programme. But also Level Trust, we're part of their Winter Smash, and we've been doing work with Smash since 2019 now. I think maybe slightly before that as well, but every year since 2019, we've worked on some projects for Smash with Level Trust. What else do we have? So much. We're working with the Culture Trust, who are our partners, at Wardown House for their their project that they've got on with Santa, which is every weekend and the week running up to Christmas. So if you anyone with young people that want to go and see Santa, you can go there. But also we've been working to train up elves for the Enchanted Christmas in Dunstable as well.
Okay.
So you can find our NGYT trained elves that work for Santa. Yes, we have links for Santa.
Wow.
In Dunstable, it's the Quadrant. So as well, if your young people want to go on a journey and see Santa there too, if you're Dunstable based, then you can go there as well. Yep. So we've got lots and lots of exciting things happening. Oh, I've worried that I'm going to forget something. Those are the highlights. But if you do want to see everything that's going on at NGYT, you can go to our Instagram link in bio, and you'll see everything that's going on in our December newsletter as well.
Oh, that's such a wicked plug. You done so well there.
Did I?
That was really good.
And I've got my hands between my knees, so I don't touch my microphone. Got my hands between my knees, so I don't touch my microphone, Deadpool. Because Deadpool is not going to be happy. He'll be cross. He'll be making a campaign.
I'm never cross.
Stop me touching
always
my microphone.
happy. Trust me.
I know you are, and I know you're so passionate. I know all those things that you're talking about is because you say, "Oh, I shouldn't rant," but actually, you're just because you're so passionate and you have such good intentions, and you're
maybe
doing
I shouldn't
things.
say it. Maybe I should rant. I should. I think if you're ranting about what's right and the good things, then why not? Yeah, exactly. Why not? Exactly. Well, look. Exactly. Shall we wrap it up here? We can wrap it up. It's a good place. First, let's give out your socials because one of the most important things of you said earlier about you was on a tangent, right? And I love it. I love it. Keep being on tangents. Okay. Yeah, people need to hear your voice. I'm never on it. I'm off of it all the time. That's the problem. I'm never on the tangent. I'm always off of it. No, but it's really important. I spoke about my daughter. She needs to see people like you who she can be like, oh, that's someone I could be like if I want to. You know what I mean? And it's really important that you speak as much as you can because your voice is so highly valued. To me, especially, and it as time goes on, more and more in this town. There are so many young people that their voices need to be heard as well. Yeah. And actually, we can maybe talk about some young people coming on your podcast. I'd love to. I'd love to have anyone from NGYT. Yeah, for real. Yeah, let's talk about that. Because actually, talking to me, but actually, I'm old now. You should. No, you're not old. We should get some young people to chat. Feel bad about myself. No, I don't mean that you're not old. I feel like myself. But what I mean is the young people that we should maybe set that up. Yeah, I'd love that. I'd love that. Yeah, I've got a young person on my podcast on Christmas Day actually. Oh, amazing. Yeah, I'm going to this kid Ethan's house for Christmas Day, which is going to be awesome. Lovely. Yeah, it's going to be really nice. But yeah, so socials. Socials. So you can find us on @NGYT UK on Instagram, NGYT_UK on Twitter. I think it's also NGYT UK on Facebook or Next Generation Youth Theatre. There you go. Shameless plug there. There you go. NGYT.co.uk. But yeah, please drop us a follow. And if you obviously watch the podcast, then thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. No, it's been my pleasure. Do you want to drop your socials as well? Everyone knows, If they're watching the podcast, they're a fan already. Yeah, I mean, it's all Luton Deadpool. So, if you can't figure it out, it's kind of on you then. And to be honest with you, I've thrown enough of my business cards around that, people. Do you want to know my business card? I love one. Thank you. If people don't know you, then I was actually talking to my Uber driver on the way here. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to film a podcast. He's like, oh, what's the podcast? I was like, oh, it's Luton's Deadpool. And he was like, Luton's Deadpool. So if on my way back home later, and I said, what have you been up? Have you had a good day? And there you go. Who's it? And give them the card, and then that's me doing so much easier to explain. I also have some money for you for Keach if I can. Oh, really? That's so sweet of you. Yeah. I've got my bucket in the car, so we can do that. Amazing, thank you. So thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me. Awesome, thank you very much, Lauren. Thank you. Oh, we're very formal. Oh, let's dance, weren't we? We'll do a dance. We'll do a dance after. Don't worry. We'll do a dance after. Okay, thank you everybody for joining us. This has been Luton's Deadpool podcast. I love you, Luton. Mwah. There you go. Mwah. All done. All sorted. Thank you. Done. I appreciate you. That was so much fun. I know we were longer than